Our beautiful 1965 Mercedes 230 SL has just come back from a film set where unfortunately they managed to reverse it into a post and dent the back and smash the rear light. The bodywork has all been done and we're just going to have a go at replacing the light, which has just arrived from Germany. We're going to have a go at whizzing this light out. It's just held in place by a couple of nuts and washers. We managed to get that bulb holder out. It looks like it's been melted at some stage. I don't know if that happened previously, but now that we've got that out, we can set about getting out the lens. The lens is held in by several nuts and bolts. And we'll just have a go at whizzing that out. Once you've removed those 4 nuts, this light doesn't quite come out because it's held on by this piece of chrome. And this piece of chrome is riveted on underneath. I'm not sure it's supposed to be riveted, I'm sure it's supposed to be screwed. So we're going to have to drill that rivet out and take this piece off before we can get this out. Once you've drilled those rivets out, you should, in theory, be able to take that piece off. So this should just come out now, like so. This is the other bit of trim here, and while we're here, we will take off all of this rust, just polish this up. That should protect it for a few more years. Once again, we'll just tidy up all of this paintwork here, get rid of any residual bits of rust, replace all the fittings with stainless steel, and hopefully be able to order that light fitting and put this back together. Just arrived from Germany about a week after we ordered it from a company called Oldtimer Ersatzteil, is what I hope is the replacement light for our Pagoda. It's very well packaged. And it actually looks like it's the right side. Let's turn it over and see if it looks the same. It certainly appears to. Yeah, it's exactly the same. That's good news. Now this particular seller sells on eBay, and that there is the light. You can see that these lights are not cheap, and if you buy that in the UK, apart from the fact that you've got postage on top of that, you may also be subject to import duty or customs. That there is the seller's name on eBay. If you do need to change the light on your Pagoda, bear in mind there are 7 different styles of rear light depending on how old your car is and whether it's a European or US spec car. This company, SLS in Germany, are not only an excellent source for all Mercedes parts, but they have a detailed page on what lights went with which car. Whenever you buy a new part or a spare part, it is a good idea just to quickly visually verify that they're both the same. For example, there are a few differences between the new unit and the damaged unit. The first difference I can see is that on the old unit, there is this seal here, which we'll take off and transplant onto the new unit. And on the new unit, there are these rubber washers here, which basically stop moisture getting into the car through these screw holes. When you come to fit these lights, it's important that these little rubber washers here do actually align with the holes. On this side here, you can see that there is some lateral movement, so it is possible to fit the light with that not actually being in the hole, so you just need to be aware of that. One thing you may find if you put new seals on is that your light no longer sits completely flush with the car, which is the case here. And you've got 2 choices. You can either revert to the old seal, which is never generally a great idea, or you can just live with the small gap in the knowledge that over time that seal will compress and you'll be able to tighten up the plastic fittings to pull that further in. But you don't want to overdo it, over tighten those fittings initially, because you just end up damaging the metal inside. Unlike the light that came off, this one actually has these proper plastic fittings here, a bit like the R107, rather than just nuts and washers. But when you come to put those fittings on, make sure you tighten them in a crisscross pattern so that the seal is seated evenly. This seal here is seated nice and evenly, so don't just tighten one at a time. Nice crisscross pattern. Don't forget when you put the light back in that you need to attach the earth wire to the top right hand corner screw just before you start tightening everything up. The last thing we have to do is fit this piece of boot chrome, and the way this fits in is it slots underneath there and pushes in, and then this side here clips around that fitting. You can make sure it's all the way pushed in, otherwise you won't be able to clip this last bit round like so. Now ideally that would sit completely flush with the car, but because the light is not sitting flush because of a new seal, that's not quite sitting flush. But on this side it's the same as well, so we're just going to have to live with that for the time being. Now what we do need to do is drill out the remaining rivets, which I should have done before I clipped that in, and either re-rivet this on or just find a way of attaching it some other way. We've got that new light on and it looks as good as new. Unfortunately, we did drop the old light on the boot there, managed to scratch the paint. But as this car is going to be painted at some stage anyway, I'm not too worried about that. I'm not sure when we're going to do this, but we'll be taking this car off to a body shop that will be repairing all of this, laying in some new metal and then re-riveting on the chrome strip there. I must confess that I've never actually had the hardtop on this car since I've had it. It's only on the car because for the film they wanted it on the car. I'm going to leave this video here, and in the next video we're hopefully going to get our 280 SL back from the paint shop.